Hello again, friends. Happy day after snow day again. I know that January's been very, very strange as a month and as a learning process and throughout all this. But for the most part, I was actually pretty impressed with how well you guys got back into the swing every time we were thrown off a little bit. And so I want to thank you for that. That having been said, what today was taken up doing an awful lot of was a little bit of a heart-to-heart based on your overall work ethic and your overall kind of respect for yourselves and the job that you're here to do that has kind of been lacking in you guys for the better part of the year now. And basically what I wanted to make sure I talked about in class today was the fact that, we're about to start a unit where we're learning about the foundations of our country. And this country is the greatest in terms of its opportunity to advance beyond where you are now if you're willing to put in the hard work, if you're willing to become educated, if you're willing to whatever. And I won't give you the whole speech here because we took basically the entire class period to talk about this. And the reason that we did is because in his State of the Union address last night, President Obama touched on something that I've been saying in class a lot throughout the course of the year, and always really. I'm going to read just this little piece of his State of the Union address for you in case you didn't watch it, or in case you didn't even really know what was happening, and the only mention you heard is from me today. But he said this: the point is, there are millions of Americans outside of Washington who are tired of stale political arguments and are moving this country forward. They believe, and I believe, that here in America, our success should depend not on accident of birth, but on the strength of our work ethic and the scope of our dreams. That's what drew our forebears here, our forefathers, the people who founded this country. It's how the daughter of a factory worker is CEO of America's largest automaker. How the son of a bartender, is Speaker of the House. How the son of a single mom can be president of the greatest nation on earth. Opportunity is who we are, and the defining project of our generation must be to restore that promise. We know where to start. The best measure of opportunity is access to a good job. Guys, I don't know, maybe you think I've been BSing you all year, but I'm really not. Everybody, all the way up to our president, understands that opportunity is based in the ability to move your profession forward, to get a job, to be able to handle that job when you get it. Now, I realize that you guys are still really young, and we've talked about this all year. But you have to believe me that when I give you these heart-to-heart talks that we have, and when we discuss these things, I'm not lying to you. They don't pay me enough to lie to you, frankly. Okay? And I told you that before, too. Out there, and I keep pointing over here because I'm looking out the window over here, your success in life is largely determined by you. It doesn't matter where you start. We had a conversation about how we're close to the bottom of the ranks when it comes to student performance as a district, and Williamsville East is at the top right now. I think it's Williamsville East. It might be Clarence this year. They kind of flip-flop. And people pointed out, well, those are rich districts. Well, they have rich people living there. But if you look around us, we've got access to all sorts of technologies, and we've got great facilities, and our class sizes aren't too big. I mean, Cheektowaga is not a poor district. Oh, sure, some of its citizens are on the poorer side of the spectrum when you compare it to Williamsville East and Clarence. But we also talked about the fact that really, money doesn't make people smart. Smart makes people money. And so a lot of the districts where people tend to be more wealthy, the kids tend to be pretty smart. And it's not because they're wealthy. It's because their parents are really smart. And that has allowed them to make a lot of money, if that was their choice. I went to school maybe for longer than some of those people, but I chose a profession that pays me less. Well, that was my choice, though. See, the problem is that some of the choices you guys have been making have been forming really, really bad habits that have been leaving your education behind and that have been neglecting your reason for existence, which is to make sure you have a fulfilling life, a happy life, a productive life where you feel like you made a difference. Education is your opportunity to choose whatever path you want. But I'm worried that if, and this is the last, basically this is the last day that I'm here for this quarter, and it's the last day of the first half of the year. So you guys really have a decision point that you've come to. And you need to decide, am I worth it to myself to bring my best every day? Remember, your best is good enough for today. Be proud of where you are, be proud of who you are, but if you look around you in your life and you say, I don't want this to be my life, this place is your ticket to having a better life. And the life, by the way, that especially if you don't see your parents very much because they're out working their butts off so that you can have more opportunity, it's the life they want for you. And the life that you want for you is to be in control of your options, your opportunities, and your time. That starts here and now, and I know it's hard for you to think about years in the future, but believe me, I wouldn't lie to you. I would tell this to my own kids if I were blessed to have them. You guys are my kids, so I'm passing this along to you. And part of the reason that this conversation was so important to me is that we're about to start, like I said, a unit on the American Revolution and what this country was founded upon by reading a book and applying all of our knowledge about how to be a good reader to My Brother Sam Is Dead. It's a novel that I actually even remember reading when I was younger than you in school myself. And it is a phenomenal, fantastic book. And in some of the classes we got to read about the authors. Now I won't bore you by reading about the authors right now again, but understand that these two guys, these two brothers, they said it never occurred to us that we couldn't write, we just decided to try it. We decided to do it. How many of you don't do your work in here because you think you're going to fail before you even try? What would your life be like if you decided, you know what, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to try it. I'm going to give my best effort because I'm going to improve. Whether I succeed with flying colors or I fall flat on my face, I'm going to learn, and that's going to make me better tomorrow. That's what these guys are committed to doing. And so committed to helping you do that, that these guys researched, like some historical fiction that you read is like historical fiction. This is historical fiction. The story is fictionalized just a little bit to pull all the true history together, but the true history that's in here is so researched and exact that down to the date that you are in a certain place, in a certain location, with certain characters, down to the weather that is accurate for that day historically. What happened and down to the weather, like I said. So this is something that you need to pay attention to. I'm going through your packet right now really quickly because I want you to understand what I'm expecting from you throughout this. This is a pretty thick packet because I'm asking a lot from you. But it's worth it because it will allow you to understand this book and connect with it and understand pieces of our history that should still be very real to you. We're going to go through a lesson on Monday where we take apart the Pledge of Allegiance because so many people do, it's lost all meaning. But see, there's deep meaning in the founding of our country that can be passed along to you if you're willing to look at it. And it's inspiring and it's life-changing, and that's what we're after in this unit. So this, you say you want a revolution. You can download the packet, by the way, at the bottom of this post, like always, because we did hand it out today if you weren't here. But this, you say you want a revolution. Basically, what this all says here is you are going to pick a character, and you're going to write 5 journal entries for them across the course of the novel. You are becoming that character so you can try to experience the revolution firsthand and all the emotions that would be going through your heart and your mind and your family reacting to having war, literally being able to look out your front window and see the war. See, because war is something that's very separate from our daily lives. But it's a very real reality in the lives of a lot of people around the world that it's a part of their everyday life. And we forget that sometimes in this country. Hopefully this will help you remember where we've come from and why we did what we did. This vocabulary list, what you're going to be doing is you are going to be defining and using in a sentence and giving the part of speech and giving the page number just like you're used to for all of the vocab, okay, that you've done all throughout the year. You are going to do that for specific words from this book, from this vocabulary list. You're going to do all the proper nouns, which as you know means like the capital letters, and the lists are all right here. Then you're going to choose 3 from each section of the book, and you're going to put them into these different areas to be able to define them, okay? Those different pages. That should be pretty straightforward to you. We've done it before. If you have questions, come with them on Monday. This next one, also very familiar to you. Your Wait What Just Happened organizer that we've been doing all year long. Okay, same thing. Characters that are involved, basic plot points, bullet points of what happened, your predictions. But notice, I didn't include conflicts because that's all going to be taken care of in your journal entry ideas. So characters, plot points, predictions, but then you've got possible journal entry ideas for your character. What would your character be thinking about? What would your character be nervous about? What would your character be emotional about? That's what you write in this organizer. Also, just little quick checkpoints to make sure, because this book tends to move pretty quickly, we tend to go through a lot of time very quickly. It's just a really quick quiz that you can fill out as we're going along to keep your memory fresh of what's actually been happening in addition to using your organizers. Also, occasionally I have you doing thinking prompts. In this case it's my brother or my father. You have to choose based on the character in the book, the main character in the book, who you agree with. Because they're very different. The revolution actually split people's ideas within families of what should be going on in the country. Okay? That all sets up for this character journal that you say you want a revolution page. I'm giving you drafts, and these are all broken down by section. So each section will be the same as the one that I just gave you, okay, or I just explained to you really quickly. You are going to be writing 250 words for each section, but it's a journal entry. Remember that you're not retelling the story, you are letting out all of your emotions and your reactions to what's going on. Those little extra thinking prompts, in addition to the fire starters and the sterno cans and everything that we're going to be doing, are going into your being able to understand and wrap your head around the very real history of America. I know this all sounds like a lot, but remember that in order to fully understand, we must break things down that far. And we try to understand these things because we want to connect to them. We want them to have a meaningful impact on our lives so that when we move forward, we know we're committed to making us better. We're committed to making our situation better. We're committed to making our family better. We're committed to making our country better and our society better, because that's what's really important here. More on this on Monday. Thank you for sticking with this post. Remember, you can download everything you need right below this post. I'll give you a little written description too, and we'll move on, and I'll see you Monday. Make decisions that benefit you and that show respect to the most important person in your life. You. See you Monday.